Hello, today we're gonna show you how to print trigonometric, inverse trigonometric, hyperbolic function values using C language focused on sine graph. In mathematics class, we took lessons about sine graph, cosine graph essentially, and you could see hyperbolic graph in geometry course. The y value is derived according to a given x value, or the x value is reversed when the y value is given. So, we decide to make a calculator that calculates the value of a function according to the value user enters. At first, we plan to use this formula, which is applied version of star stamp that we had learned in class. It shows us graph and y values. But as you see, it could only draw limited ones, so we canceled it. Then we tried to use scanf. Entering any x value between 0 and 180, it converts it into a value of radian to derive the value automatically. This time, in the range of defined rows, all numbers can draw conclusions.
First, let me tell you about the mathematical background used in this programming. A trigonometric function is what extends the trigonometric ratio to a normal angle. The coordinate of the point above the circle in the unit may be expressed as cosine and sine functions. The triangle ratio uses angles expressed in degree, and in trigonometric functions use radian measure. Next, the inverse triangle function is the inverse function of the trigonometric function. Because the trigonometric function is not a one-to-one function, it is necessary to limit the domain of the definition to define its inverse function. This is the table showing the definitions and notation of the inverse triangulation functions. Finally, the hyperbolic function is what occurs when the hyperbolic is displayed as a parameter. A hyperbolic is a curve in which the difference in distance from two fixed focal points is caused by constant points. Special combinations of exponential functions define hyperbolic sine, cosine, and tangent functions like second picture. In the third picture, you can see the schematic graph of hypersine, hypercosine, and hypertangent functions.
First of all, to design coding to output trigonometric, inverse trigonometric, and hyperbolic functions in C language, by default math.h file and standard.io.h file should be set as the header file in the first place. In particular, the math.h header file is a standard library of C languages that can contain several mathematic functions. Also, when using double type, the data type should be declared as %lf. Also, it needs to be cautious in %lf when scanning, while %f when printing. To begin with, printing the sign value of trigonometric function, the double sign double x function is used. Also, range of variable x should be from 263 to minus 263. In specific, it works by circular measure instead of angle degree. Next, when printing the sign value of inverse triangular function, the variable x should be between -1 from 1 and double arcsine double x. To print the sign value of hyperbolic function, double hyperbolic sine double x function should be declared, and for finally return the value of hyperbolic sine of x as the print value.
In this study, we tried programming to calculate and output values for trigonometry, inverse triangle, and hyperbolic functions by inputting angles around the sine functions using C language. The angle entered during the function calculation was calculated by changing the angle to arc, and double was used. In this study, we attempt to program trigonometry, inverse trigonometry, and hyperbolic functions to obtain a function value based only on the sine function. Therefore, future studies will study programming that can obtain function values for all trigonometric, inverse trigonometry, and hyperbolic functions, including cosine and tangent functions. In addition, we will look for cases where obtaining the various sine function values currently implemented will be utilized and proceed with the appropriate modification process for each case. Thank you.